Hey everybody, this is Moletrap. This is going to be the first sc2gg.com podcast, and we've already released it on the site as an MP3. I just decided I'd throw it on a video since why the hell not? But there's not going to be any video, actual moving pictures or anything like that. So if you want to just go download it, just go to sc2gg.com and there's a link to it on the front page. I'll put a link to it in the video description too, I guess. I might as well. If you're going to discuss it though, don't. I mean, I guess you can, but it'd be better if you went to the forum page that's going to be about the podcast, because then there's going to be more people talking and it's easier to talk about things on the forums than it is on YouTube comments. So I'll leave links to all that in the description. All right, on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever sc2gg.com podcast. And just to let you know, we're going to try and make this a sort of a regular occurrence. We're going to do a few different formats. We're going to actually try and get some cool folks in for interviews and that sort of thing in the future. Just to kind of start things off, though, basically, we're going to kind of have a less formal podcast here, and it's basically just me and Diggity hanging out, and we're going to be talking about a few things that are just kind of going on in the StarCraft scene in general. First of all, we're gonna go over the state of Proleague and some exciting stuff that's coming up in Proleague this upcoming week. We're gonna talk about the upcoming MSL Group G, and then finally we're gonna take a look at all of the new OSL groups and just kind of discuss what we think about those groups and how they're gonna turn out. And it is looking like an exciting OSL, so I'm looking forward to thinking about that one. So Diggity, what can we look forward to in Pro League coming up?
So we're going to go over, it looks like we got 6 matches that we kind of figured out ahead of time. And the first one we're going to go over is in the CJ versus Lee Calf set, which is going to be an awesome matchup. Number 1 versus number 2, baby. I'm actually a big CJ fan. Well, first of all, I'm an Ace fan, then I go down to CJ from there. I guess I shouldn't reveal my biases, but whatever. But it's going to be Quano versus Anytime, which is huge. It's just going to be a fantastic matchup. And it's
That's
on Blue
basically
Storm.
it's basically going to determine how the rest of the set is gonna play out.
Whew, I'm just really excited, especially because it's on Blue Storm. Like another large macro map, I would just have to give it to Anytime, but on like a small micro kind of Zerg friendly map like Blue Storm, I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty crazy. Quanro, we've never known him to really have that good of ZVP. He's been stepping it up a little bit lately, so I'm hoping he can step it up against. I mean, anytime's that's a trial by freaking fire right there. So it'll be interesting to see if he can
He did beat
pull that
Bisu
off.
recently though, so
Yeah, but Bisu's washed out right now. Bisu, everyone's beating Bisu these days. It's like, oh, he beat Savior. It's like everyone beats Savior. Who cares?
uh, I guess that's true. Moving on to the next matchup, or actually a couple matches in the same set, I should say. That's the way I should say it. Memory versus Jaedong, and I think that's going to be a really fun match
That's not
too,
gonna be fun
because
at all. Jaedong's gonna own him real quick.
I think I think it'll be cool because first of all, I think it's a very Jaedong favored map simply because he's just a macro and micro fiend,
Yeah,
and when you have
it's perfect for
is it
three
on
hedge.
Andromeda actually?
It's on Andromeda.
Yeah, it's basically perfect for 3 hedge, but at the same time, Memory like his signature is his dropship play, and I think there's a lot of opportunities for dropship play on that map. So if he can get a sneaky dropship out somehow
He will
and not get
never get to
completely run
dropship
over.
tech.
You think he's just gonna get bowled over?
I,
Actually, that probably is the more likely thing, that he's
I
just
don't
gonna
know.
get run straight over.
Because if he takes
But
his
still,
mineral on the expansion, then it'll be completely vulnerable to mutalisks. And if he takes his
I
lower
don't know.
expansion, then well, they'll be more vulnerable to a ground attack. And Jadon can do either one of those.
Which map is that on again? I'm trying to remember.
Andromeda's the one with the mineral only above on the same ridge, and then a ramp down to another natural which has a gas.
I remember
Savior
thinking, isn't that
versus
really
Fire by
bad
Hero the other
for?
day
No,
was
that's
on Andromeda.
yeah, that's right. I'm thinking, isn't that pretty bad for? No, I guess it's okay for Mutalisk Ras if it's at the mineral only. But
The mineral
I
only
don't know.
has the
I've seen a
minerals
lot of
exposed to like a big open area. There's no risk at
yeah.
all. I mean, of there's nowhere for Marines to go and there's nowhere to place turrets, basically.
Jaedong played a game recently though where essentially it seemed like he just couldn't get anything done with his Mutalisk Harass. Who was that against again? I think that was against was it against Ruby? Or am I thinking of a completely different game?
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember who that was. It was one of those random Terrans that all look the same to me. Ruby or Frosian or whoever the frick they
Something
are.
like that. I think it might have been maybe it was Frosian versus July or something like that.
If it was Jaedong versus like someone interesting, like Mind or C, I would say that the Terran might stand a chance because of Jaedong not really kind of being like I said. I think I said this in a commentary the other day. He used to win 9 out of 10 games and now he's only winning 8 out of 10. So he's
Yeah, that's true.
slightly off his game, but he hasn't fallen off his game like all the other big guys have fallen off their game. So I think he's going to own
Yeah.
memory pretty badly.
Anyway, and then there's going to be the Boxer versus Nada match, which I guess is kind of everything that's
That's
going
going
to
to
be
be
happening in
sweet.
that set, as we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
We were just joking ahead of this. We were talking about how we should say, there's going to be CJ versus Leecaf and KTF versus Khan, SCX versus Hero, and then there's going to be Boxer versus Nada.
Although that could go to a four
That's so
set, and
true.
then Daezang versus Mind might be pretty sweet too. But I think
That could be a really fun game.
everyone's looking forward to Boxer versus Nana pretty badly.
Although I don't know that Boxer's in good enough shape to take on Nada these days.
Yeah, Nana's been in really nice shape. He's still not like at the top of he's not at the top of StarCraft right now, but he's in pretty good stuff, especially considering the sad state. And I'm not saying sad state as in like he was really bad, but it was sad that he was only like slightly above mediocre up until recently, and it was sad to see him lose to like he would have won against. So now he's actually beating those players that he should beat, and so that's pretty exciting to see Nada doing pretty well. But yeah,
Kind of curious
Boxer
how
just
his
doesn't have any time to practice.
yeah, I wonder how his TVT is picking up too, because he has Mind now that he can just, the two of them can battle it out during practice.
Yeah,
I mean, Mind is, you know, no slouch right there. So I wonder how their TVT is actually going back and forth. Especially, I have to say, like the map set I'm looking at recently, I really feel like it's really good for not a type play. Like looking at Othello, it just seems like a lot of these maps have big wide open areas for a lot of vulture harassment and general vulture movement around the map, and that's what Nada is really known for is kind of persistent attacks with vultures, especially against Protoss players. But I think otherwise, in general, he's known for moving, just being, can't talk all of a sudden, just being kind of awesome in that general sense of always just keeping the pressure on and making sure that people can't ever get out of their kind of box on the map and just
yeah,
dominating playing map control basically to a really high level. And I think a lot of where prior like Blue Storm, I think there was some map control, but it was kind of to a minor degree. It feels like a lot of these maps have a huge emphasis on map control, except with I guess Athena. Athena's the one with the three expansions right inside
like
the base, right?
like Hunters.
Yeah, hunters.
Hunters is like a 95% map control map.
Anyway,
Every almost every game I've seen, it has involved trying to box in one of the players, usually the Zerg, and
but yeah,
both players being boxed in. Yeah,
like Wuthering Heights, that's like a map where I don't know. It just feels like it's very vulture friendly and very Nada style play friendly. With I mean, he's obviously really good with SK Terran, but anyway, I
Wuthering
just
Heights
think
is
I feel
nuts.
like this is a good map set.
It's you can tell. It's like let me see here. Yeah, no games, 0 games have been played on. No. I'm sorry. One game so far. There have been 22 games played on Wuthering Heights, and one of them did not involve a Terran. Everyone looks at that center and they're like,
Uh,
"Oh crap! Those middle bases can all be easily shelled by Terran." So everyone throws in Terrans. So there's been half the games have been TVTs so far on that map. That's kind of
which
what
is
I
sad
thought when
because
I first saw the map too. This is Wuthering Heights.
I really want to see Proxy Zerg on that. I want to see some Zerg get huge balls and try to take the double gas in the middle like straight off. would
Yeah,
fake like
that
they're
would be
doing a
pretty
9
fat.
pool.
All right.
Anyway,
Um,
although I don't think that's even possible, but whatever.
by the way, the next commentary of the week looks like it's probably going to be Jangby versus Flash. It's kind of like Jangby versus Flash is Obama, and Boxer versus Nada is Clinton. So like, it's freaking obvious to anyone that knows what the heck is going on in the world that Jangby versus Flash is going to win. But for some reason, Boxer versus Nada keeps insisting that their like slight amount of votes is actually gonna. I'm sorry, I'll stop getting political now, but Jangby versus Flash is gonna be pretty flippin' sweet. Basically, Flash,
Yeah.
obviously, best player in the world at the moment. Jangby, he's won something like 13 out of his last 14 Protoss versus Terrans, and the one that he lost was that one in the uh, Pro League finals where who was that for Gigi or was that Gogo? Forgot which
I
one of
think that
those.
might have been for Gigi.
For yeah, that was for Gigi, where
Maybe.
he like he hit two Reavers with a total of like 60 SCV kills, and he's like, "Yay, I
Oh
win!" And
yeah.
he threw his army onto for Gigi's tanks and got his army slaughtered, and then he lost because he didn't have an army anymore. And so for Gigi didn't have an economy, but Jangbi didn't have an army, and in that case, the army won over the economy.
Jeez. I think it'll be a
That's the
nice
only game he's
opportunity
lost
too.
since like that's the only game Jangby's lost since
Yeah.
Terran since like last year basically.
Although I haven't seen the MSL groups yet because you just did them. You're uploading them currently, so I don't know what
I
happened
said
there. But
versus
otherwise,
Terran.
he's yeah, okay. So I won't comment otherwise. But yeah, he's been playing really well lately, just period in general. And I think this might be a nice opportunity for him to be like, hey, maybe I'm the number one player. At least I can keep Flash humble at the top there.
We'll
So and
see.
it's really interesting because I'm gonna be really interested to see Flash's like really aggressive expansion style versus Jangbi's really big macro. Like I mean, he's just
Yeah,
incredible with huge amounts of units. I'm really curious to see how that's gonna play out.
yeah, they're both big macro players, so that's going to be a pretty crazy matchup.
I'm also curious because I don't think Flash like I think Flash has played like he was dominating all over Stork. And basically any Protoss that was going carriers, and I don't know that Jangbi will opt to go carriers on this map.
And
I think he's
and
gonna
no one
try
has
and play
gone
Arbiters,
carriers since in like the last month.
Yeah,
Everyone's
exactly. So
like,
I
"Oh
wonder if
crap,
like that.
Flash figured us out. He broke carriers."
Well, there was that thing where they were always going to the 14 Nexus, they were always going the early expansion, and then just going straight to carriers because of Katrina, I think. And everyone was like, hey, that worked pretty well on Katrina, let's keep doing that. And then Flash was like, oh yeah, and that quick level 1 weapons upgrade and tons of Goliaths just started stomping all over it. So I'm kind of curious, as players are kind of shifting back towards Arbiters, if Flash can still just wipe the floor with them, even if they are going Arbiters, or if he's, not to say he's like a one-trick pony, but to say that maybe he's really dominant against Protoss when they're going carriers, and maybe he's less dominant when they're going arbiters. We'll see. Jangbi's Storm, though, it's going to be fun to see his Storm all over this map. I think we were talking to Saeed when he's talking about the close gaps on this, and so it's going to be big opportunities for Storm all over the place.
Yeah, I will avoid saying stuff about stuff. Um, sorry, this is me trying not to spoil things. And
For
moving on,
MSL, but
Soul
stuff that's
versus
already happened.
Hero is
Okay.
going to be fat. STX Soul versus NBC Game Hero. Almost every match in this is going to be pretty sweet in one form or another. Huashin versus C. Okay, basically two of the top Terrans um, around. They're going to be battling. And Huashin has been looking a lot better than C has actually lately. So
Yeah,
that either way, that's going to be interesting though. Then
I
we
think.
have Calm versus Light. Did you want to comment specifically on that first game?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Every time people bring up Washington, we keep bringing up last year, basically 2007, where he looked like he was going to be the next big thing, and then just kind of petered out.
That's a
And
good
so I think
point.
everybody's looking, yeah. So everybody keeps looking for him to pick it back up again and end up, being the player that we know he can be. Because up until he played Bisu in that, like, I think that was the best set of last year. Really, is that Bisu
Yeah,
Huashin set. That that was really I won't say best actually because Stork Bisu is really
Stork
awesome
Bisu,
too.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
probably my favorite.
but Hwash and Bisu, that was really one of the pinnacles of Terran versus Protoss. I think I thought it was really just awesome all the way, all three sets. And so but he's been kind of like on the decline since then. And now it looks like he's getting in better form. I just really want to see him play to the level that he's capable of. And C obviously not a pushover. He's one of those guys. Well, he plays conservatively, but he just
Yeah, it's
doesn't
Pro
play on
League, so
easy. He
C will
plays
actually
hard,
be
but
able to theoretically win this game.
yeah, won't crumble like a leaf. Although he did advance in the OSL, correct?
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
we did that
but
that set
it's
where
only the
he.
group stages. It
Yeah, that's
doesn't
true.
count unless he gets
So round
past
of
the round of
16, he has the
16.
curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
Calm versus
sorry. Go
Light
ahead.
is also going to
Continue.
be in that set. Um, so that's going to be pretty cool too. I don't know if we need to think about it too much detail. Basically, Light, pretty. He pretty. A few months ago, I would have said damn good. He's kind of fallen off a little bit, so he's just pretty damn good now. Calm. A couple months ago, I would have said okay, and lately he's kind of been stepping up a little bit. So I say they're both on the pretty damn good level. I'd say they're both kind of even, so that's why I think that's going to be kind of exciting. Um,
Yeah.
unless you have any other thoughts on that.
No, not really. I think C
Okay,
versus Washington will be a fun match, and Com versus Light will be a fun match, and
the
that's yeah
the
what I'm
two v
really
two
looking
is going to
forward
be
to.
a little exciting. Also, it's on Hunters. Every single game I've seen on Hunters has been freaking hilarious. And Radival was actually pointing out that the pro players don't know how to play on Hunters. Basically, uh, Hunters is a different kind of bear, and they're wrestling with Blue Storm bears and Katrina bears. But
Yeah.
anyways, the 2v2 is the return of Joyo, I believe. I don't think he's played again yet. Joyo is the guy who's famous for getting owned by Boxer in the
Yeah.
greatest comeback of all time, like ever.
All time. Look it up. Look
Definitely
it
the
up on
greatest
YouTube
comeback of
right
all
now if
time
you're
in
hearing this. If you
StarCraft.
haven't seen it, yeah.
Possibly one of the greatest comebacks of anything. Um, and July is going to be playing there in that 2v2. Always fun to see July, even though, yeah, it's just a 2v2. And then that fourth game of that set also, Cal versus Ruby is going to be pretty decent because Cal
Yeah.
um, been playing damn good, and Ruby, he's another one of those. He's one of the faceless, no-name uh, Terrans that I was referring to earlier. But he's been beating some substantial people lately. So
He's
except one of
mostly
them
been
was
he's been
Savior.
kind of the
So
Zerg killer.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they've
true.
been putting him a
That's
lot
true.
against Zerg.
That's
And
true.
so I
That's
think
true.
he's their dedicated Zerg killer, and now they're trying to expand his role a little bit, I guess. I remember
Maybe.
seeing Ruby. Ruby kind of sticks out in my mind because I remember him getting absolutely worked by Savior in MSL Season 3. It was almost embarrassing, but I remember thinking that, he can play better than that. And then, yeah, after that, he ended up being one of the guys that's kind of dragging Savior under the water as, Firebat Hero stomps on his face like Ruby's underneath there dragging him down too. So,
Yeah. So
anyway,
Soul
I think
versus
Ruby was the guy who put that weird build that Savior was doing to the grave where he was just trying to sunken up and then expand all over the place and try to go straight to Ultralisks, basically. Anyway,
yeah. So Soul
sorry, go
versus
ahead.
Hero in general. That's all right. Is going to be pretty interesting one way or another. Yeah, so Hero kind of a better team, but Soul is bringing out all of its big players for that set, so it's gonna be a pretty even matchup in that sense.
Oh, coincidentally, you can watch all these games live with the Dom player. There is a guide on SC2GG, and pretty much most of us will just sit around and chat. Like if I know I'm not commentating a game, I will just go and chill and chat while I'm watching it with a lot of people, especially if they're during like 10 o'clock post standard or a post standard Pacific Standard Time, because that tends to be generally when they air for me when I can watch them, as opposed to 2 a.m. my side. But yeah, there's a lot of people in chat just hanging out there talking about the games as they're happening. If you guys want to go there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun stuff.
So yeah, I mostly enjoy it just because we rant and rave and like, oh boxer, oh whoever. I watch almost every Ace match.
Yeah, if you don't
So
have an IRC client, sc2gg.com/chat, and it'll bring up a Java client for you to chat with.
anyway,
All right, moving on. We're going to take a look at the the next MSL group. As we record this, we are mere moments away from Firebat Hero versus Savior in that MSL group. So we're figuring that that's already going to have happened by the time people listen to this. So we're going to kind of look at the next one since we're going to do commentaries on that group. Anyhow, we're going to kind of take a look at the next group, which I believe is being commentated by, you said Knight of Knee is doing that, the group G.
Yep, 90.
Yeah, so
I believe he.
K
I'm not sure who
N
has the
I G
preview.
H T O F N E N I. Sorry, not N E. Knee,
I'm not sure,
knee.
but JWD or Mr. Bitter might have the preview as well. So if you guys go check that
True.
out, they have really good pre-game write-ups that I enjoy for framing, and especially before I'm doing commentaries and whatnot. If you guys like discussing this sort of thing.
I'm calling C and Luxury to advance. As much as I want Up Magic to advance, he hasn't been playing as well as he can lately.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get knocked out first actually because Kanata,
You
for
think?
whatever reason, yeah, because Kanata plays really well against Terran players, especially he'll play to the level of his opponents, and he plays really well against good Terran players.
I think he
And
could
I think
take
he's gonna.
Kanata.
I'm not saying he's not capable of it. I'm just saying Kanata. This tends to be the situation where he ends up beating, top level Terran players,
Yeah,
and so I
well,
think he'll end
Terran
up winning.
Terran is
Go ahead.
Kanata's best matchup. He's like 60% in that.
Exactly. Yeah.
He beat Flash the other day. No, not the other day. Wait, when is that? Yeah, a few weeks ago he actually beat Flash. Um,
So for whatever reason, he just plays really well against top level Terran players, and I don't know if Up Magic I would call him top level at the moment. I don't know what happened after he lost to Jadong. He just completely
See,
tanked. I mean, his
Kanata,
creativity went out the door.
whose creativity went out the door?
Up Magic. It's not his creativity; it's his
Yeah,
execution, I guess, is what I
yeah.
should
His
say.
something about him. He just kind of he was playing really, really, really good up until the end of the. I was forget which freaking league it was. Was that the MSL when he
That was OSL.
lost to Bisu in the fourth place match? That was
Oh yeah,
OSL.
that was OSL.
Okay, so
Yeah, there was
yeah,
no fourth
he
place.
was he was freaking owning up
Game
until
set.
then, and then
Yeah,
he hasn't been playing that well since then. Um,
yeah. They call him, kind of the southpaw for always being off, kind of keeping players off balance, making them think they're at an advantage, and then clamping down on them and things like that. And really, he doesn't. A lot of been man, losing it all of a sudden. People have been saying he's Boxer-esque, but I don't think he. I think he's different from Boxer in the fact that Boxer would innovate and then play solid, and then innovate and then play solid, and he'd try to keep people on his toes. Where it seems like Up Magic just seems to pull things out on the spot, which is really fun to watch in my opinion. I really like watching his matches when he's doing that, but it just seems like lately it's just not really able to pull that off.
mhm.
Anyway,
I don't.
that's kind of a minor distinction, I guess, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't see Kanata having what it takes to get out of this group. He's too
No,
inconsistent.
no.
He's too inconsistent. He'll beat Flash, and then the next day
Yeah,
he'll lose to like Shays or someone like that.
yeah. I'm definitely favoring C and Luxury to get out of this group. So
And Luxury, I
especially
mean,
kind of with
he's only got
this.
to practice one matchup, Zerg versus Terran,
Yeah,
and that's one of his best matchups. So he's
yeah.
going to be pretty
He's been
set.
playing really well lately. Like in general, I think. Like not spectacular, but very consistent and very solid. I think.
Mm-hmm. I love how his
Anyway,
name is C.
C.
Dot Practice. Like he's like,
Yeah.
I'm the person you practice on. I don't know why that amuses me, but it does. Uh,
Uh,
anyway, he hasn't been playing
but
many
anyway,
Terrans lately, so hopefully he's practicing his butt off.
yeah.
I don't know. Does he actually? Wait, does Luxury have any good Terran practice partners to go up against? He's an OGN, right?
Uh, yeah. He's OGN. Let me think about that.
I don't think OGN
Who else is
OGN
in
doesn't really
OGN?
have
That's I guess
anyone.
the question. They have Go-Go. Go-Go is pretty good.
Psh, go. They have
Go-Go's pretty good at
Shine.
beating people that you wouldn't expect.
Shine.
Shine's, yeah. Shine standard, like, yeah. Shine I don't like watching just because he's just absorb attack. He's just the attack absorber. That's all he does. Super
Yeah.
conservative.
Plus, he looks funny,
And don't forget about
which
Justin. Can't
which
forget
affects
about
his
him.
StarCraft, of course. Justin Justin doesn't count as a Terran.
He's not technically a real Terran player.
Yeah.
He's a Terran 2v2 player.
see
Anyway,
luxury or making it out of this group. Uh, Possibly if Up Magic decides to like get off his butt, he might make it too. I think. Sorry, I just realized I've been leaning away from the mic, so I'm sorry if I've been quiet for a while there.
I think it's a really fun group though in general.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
gonna
think
be
that'll be really
interesting. I think
interesting matches. Yeah.
because TVTs can suck, but not when you've got like Up Magic in there. Up Magic will keep them
And Kanata
interesting. I
tends to
think.
be really interesting too. He usually keeps it pretty interesting in the mix.
Yeah, he'll
Maybe that's
change
just
up
my opinion, but
which appendage he's gonna stick up his own butt. Keep things interesting. I'm
anyway,
sorry. I
we'll
don't know
worry about
why I
C
don't
actually a
like
little bit.
Kanata. I don't know why I'm so like bitter against him. Uh,
I think it's weird though. See, just the way he's like he did make it out of his OSL group, I think, or yeah, he made it out of his OSL group. But when he was doing it, he didn't look very good doing it. So I kind of wonder if he's playing okay. And in fact, that entire matchup, he just looked kind of
you're right.
tired. I'm
He
surprised
did
he
look
made it
pretty
out.
sad. He did look pretty sad.
He just it's like he got drunk the night before and or had a big argument
He
with
didn't
like his
have a. He
parents
doesn't
or
have any
something.
passion. He's like,
Yeah,
whatever. I might win, I might lose. Especially during that set, you could see it in his eyes. Like he freaking GG'd after he
yeah,
like lost his containment. He GG'd.
yeah.
It was two base
I don't
versus
think he
two
could have won that
base.
match still.
Neither player had an army.
I don't,
Uh,
I don't think he could have won it because he was two factories versus like 8 gates at that point,
yeah,
but still at least fight it out, you know?
seriously. Oh, maybe he didn't have a second base. Actually, I might be remembering that wrong. I thought he expanded.
I think he did, but I don't think
Whatever.
he only had the two factories, I remember, and Jangbi in the meantime had three bases when he
Still,
was starting to move
don't be
out.
a freaking
Yeah,
pansy. Fight. Like,
yeah, no, I,
and then the very next match or whatever, like Zelos didn't give up until like the four base Protoss was in his base and half of his SCVs were dying against like Zealots and Dragoons, and I'm like, yeah, Zelos rocks. I wish Zelos was in something right now.
yeah, me too. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on, indeed. Which group do you think is going to be the group of death in the OSL?
In the OSL, it's whew,
Let me cover
it's
them
hard
real
to
quick
pick.
for people that are just listening. Group A is Flash, GG Play, Rock, and C. A little mixed up group. Group B is Stork, Jangbi, Best, and Nada. So three Protoss and then Nada. Group
Nada.
C, I can't believe this happened. Group C is Luxury, July, Yark, and Rumble. Four Zergs. It's an all Zerg damn group. And Group D is Bisu, Mind, Much, and Backhoe. So two groups have three Protoss in them, and one group is all Zerg, which is that's ridiculous.
And it what I find hilarious is the three Protoss groups, you have Nada and Mind in both those groups. It's like the
Yeah, the
him and his
Protoss,
protege, you
they're
know,
both
both
really good against Protoss. But Jangbi
the
is in
standard,
there.
yeah.
Let's talk about Group B real quick because I want to talk about them first, regardless of who's the
Sure.
death. Jangbi is in there, and like we discussed, he's been owning Terrans. And actually, I shouldn't comment on his performance versus Protoss since I just did commentaries on. He was actually also in Group B of the MSL, and that was an all Protoss group. So 5 Protoss versus Protoss games. Stork, however, he's been off, but he's still the best damn Protoss versus Protoss in the world. I don't care if he hasn't been playing that well lately.
Yeah.
He's still the best. So I think he's gonna have a challenge in this group, but if anyone's gonna take him out, it's gonna be Nada. I think.
Yeah, I think Nada will have a good chance at him. I think Jangbi will also have a good chance of at him. Again, I haven't seen the MSL groups. Wanted to say OSL there. Best is actually a really good player too. So I honestly have no idea who's going to come out of a lot of these groups just because it's a really good player set.
Yeah, Best is good, but Stork owned him pretty bad last season. Best is
That's
he's
true.
good, but not against the caliber of Stork, Jangbi, and I think Nana's got an edge on him.
Yeah, I think so too. Group of Death though, man, I can't really decide here because I'm gonna have to go with Group A, I guess, just because Bisu's been slumping kind of much, has been playing really well, but he hasn't been playing, I think, to I don't know, to Group A standards, I'd guess. Because what's throwing me off is his Rock is in Group A, and
Rock's
Rock in the
a wild
OSL,
card.
yeah,
I have already
yeah.
previously expressed my dislike for Rock, but I have to admit that he does play really good StarCraft sometimes, and um, his group to get into this round of the OSL, he played really, really, really well, and exhibited some damn fine micro that I didn't even know he was capable of. So can't really count out
He's
Rock.
he's
GG play,
he's
I
had
think.
that pattern though, where he,
Go ahead.
sorry, on Rock, he'll tend to play really well in ODT and OSC. Then as soon as he gets to the OSL, he'll play crazy. It's like all of a sudden he's on camera and feels like he needs to go 5 Nexus without ever building a gateway or something like that.
Uh huh. Yeah,
So I don't know
it's
what that is, but anyway, but he's the Reaver man. Yeah, he pretty much always goes Reavers. So
yeah, yeah. I remember someone someone said before, I don't remember what freaking game it was, several months ago. They're like, watch, Rock is gonna go two gate goons into River Harass into carriers, and I'm like, ha ha ha, whatever. But then I started watching, and that's what he does every single game. Every single game versus Terran. He goes two gate goons into Reaver Harass into carriers. Almost without fail. I can't remember a time that I have not seen him do that. Actually, I'm not sure if he went carriers in the recent games that I was talking about, but he basically does that all the time, and yeah.
anyway, let's take this group by group. Who do you think's getting out of Group A?
Flash
Oh yeah,
and Frick. It's really hard to tell. It could go either way. It depends on how GG Play feels that day. If he like had a nice, healthy dinner the night before and like wakes up on the right side of the bed, he's getting out of that group. If he had like some fried calamari that morning for breakfast and it's sitting wrong in his stomach, then he's gonna go 0-2. It's GG Play. You can't really trust it. He's damn good when he plays well. I don't think he's the top caliber Zerg. And we disagree on that, I think. But
I I think he was really good in the OSL, like that OSL 2007. I thought he played awesome, awesome games, and I still think he has the best muted control period actually in the game still at the moment.
mm.
Maybe Jaedong has an edge on him in that regard right about now,
Did you
but
see who was
but
that? Was
still
that
he
Mensal with the two groups of
no.
mutas controlled at the same time? Double muta harassment.
The last time I saw that was Jaedong versus Up Magic.
Yeah. Mensal
So
did that in a pro league game not that long ago. It was pretty sweet.
so I'll have to check that out after this. But yeah, GG Play. I think he
Mensal is
can
someone
make
to
it out of
look
this
out
group
for in
easy
the
if he
future. I
plays well.
think, by the way.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. I'm so glad, speaking of which, that GG Play went to CJ Entis because he's totally got the CJ face.
Yeah.
That was he's got that that was one of the reasons actually I think I initially became a big fan of GG Play is just because no matter what's happening, he's just got that same expression on his face like whatever, I'm going to deal with this.
So far, I'm thinking. For some reason, I've got this feeling that GG Play is going to step it up there. So I'm thinking Flash GG Play out of Group A, and I'm thinking Stork Nada out of Group B. That might be wishful thinking on my part to think that Nada's going to get out, but he's the only one that has one matchup to practice in that group, so that might affect things.
I haven't seen the MSL matches, but I'm going to have to go with Jang Binata. Even like let's so I will assume the worst, actually. I'm going to pretend that Jang B got knocked out of the MSL. If that's the case, I still think he'll be practiced up for this to get out. And then assuming the best, that he went out in top position, that'd actually that might be the worst situation for him because then he has to practice 2 matchups, the OSL and the MSL. But I still think with this map set, I still think he'll be able to beat these guys. He's just been so strong versus Protoss lately. And again, I might be totally eating my words here because I haven't seen that MSL group. But I think, and he beat Nada recently, so I think he can take Nada. And I just don't think Stork's been
Well,
playing well.
something that
His
we
best I
can
think is
refer
up there,
to,
but
something that we can refer to without spoiling is that uh, in the Pro League, Jangbi just faced Much, and Much is a very strong player, and Jangbi just
ah yes,
somehow completely owned Much. I don't even going back and thinking about that game. Maybe I should go back
yeah,
and
I
watch it
saw that.
again. I don't even know how he owned him. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
How is Jangbi so far ahead? What the hell just happened? Because they came out
it was
even
weird
in all
because
the
Much,
battles.
yeah, Much was way ahead at the beginning. It seemed like he was just out macroing Jang B, and then all
Yeah,
of a sudden, yeah, Jang B came out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden he was just dominating Much, and I was like, wow, when did that happen? It was just, it really was kind of a out of nowhere transition. They were in, same bases, same everything. It looked like Jang B was actually behind as far as gateways for most of that game, if I remember it correctly. And then just all of a sudden, yeah, he just out microed Much, I guess, out of nowhere with some Reaver control and just pushed on him. So anyway, I think I'm gonna have to go with Jang B Nana in that grouping. But
you don't think
again, I haven't
Stork's
seen
gonna
the
get out?
MSL and I haven't seen. No, I don't think Stork's gonna get out. I think he's just been not playing well lately. I mean, I always have hopes that this will be Stork's OSL, that Stark will get a championship. But honestly, I think he's gonna go out early this time.
All right, the all Zerg group, Group C, Luxury, July, Yarnk. When I say Yarnk, I'm talking about yellow ARNC, uh, aka fake yellow, and Rumble. And Rumble and Yark have been impressive lately, but I'm gonna go Luxury July on this one personally. July is the wild card of this group. He's the one that it depends on how he decides to play that day. He's gonna determine how things go.
Yeah.
Um,
I gotta go. Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. July's the wild card, and I have to, but I'm gonna go with Luxury Yellow, because they've just been playing the Twins. They've been playing.
oh, that's
I
harsh. I
think
didn't
they're
even realize
Zerg
that.
versus Zerg.
Luxury and Yellow are twins. For
Yeah,
those of you that don't know, they're on the same team and they're literally identical twins. And everyone's been looking for them to have to play each other, and now they might. Oh, now they might have to. Wow, that's gonna be
they're
wow.
they're both really strong ZVZ too, and they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be practicing against one another. So that could be actually a really epic match. Is Luxury versus Yellow. That could be a really fun match.
Yeah, or with ZVZ, it could be over in the blink of an eye.
For those who like ZVZ, that'll be a nice, fun group. For those that despise ZVZ, it seems like it's either or. Either you hate it or you just absolutely love it. I guess it depends whether you like micromanagement or if you like the diverse kind of strategic play more. Because I have to admit, uh, I still find strategy in ZVZ, but I can understand where people
Yeah,
would not enjoy it just
it's
because
there's definitely strategy there,
meaningless mutas.
and it's just quick strategy. It's so quick and it's so minute. It's eight lings versus six lings instead of the strategy of Terran versus Protoss is 24 vultures and 12 tanks instead of 12 vultures and 16 tanks or whatever. And Zerg versus Zerg, it comes down to such like small things: three mutas and four scourge instead of like two mutas and six scourge. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
That kind of yeah, and of
overpool
course
instead of nine pool.
the
Yeah,
rock
that's
paper
good.
scissors of the pool builds. Um, those of you
Anyway,
that haven't heard about that, nine pool loses to 12 pool, loses to 12 hatch, loses to nine pool, kind of thing. So it's rock paper
people
scissors
tend to
sort of
ignore
setup.
overpool in that matchup. I think. And I think overpool actually kind of
Yeah, I
it
think
plays
people pick
a
that
different
almost
factor
as
in
a
there.
medium between nine pool and 12 pool, maybe.
Because yeah, I think anyway. We'll get off that anyway. Go to Group D.
Between the two, luxury I think is the better twin. He's definitely getting out, and then from there,
Yeah,
anything could really happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
Group
agree.
D, Bisu, Mind, Much, and in the words of Mr. Bitter, wait, let me find it. Hold on. Frick, where'd it go? Never mind. Oh wait. Here we go. Backhoe, what are you doing here? That's from Mr. Bitter's write up on the OSL groups, and it's so true. Backhoe, like what? Why is Backhoe like? Look at the range of names in this set, and then like you're like OMG, Flash, GG Play, Rock, C, Stork, Jangbi, Best, Nada, Luxury, Rumble, okay, Bisu, Mind, Much, and Backhoe? Where did Backhoe come from? What the hell's he doing here?
Uh,
I guess every
I think
OSL
he has been
groupings
playing well, but I agree.
needs some fodder. And he's not
I
horrible, I
can think
have
of at
to
least
admit.
20 other players that should be here. Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm like so bitter against like Kanata and that sort of thing. Maybe I hate players that are like good but not uber. I don't know. I'll have to go see my psychiatrist and uh, tell them about my StarCraft dreams and see what they say.
But yeah, there's the questions though, like where's Cal, where's Jaedong, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, like Bako
And then
instead
Bako's there.
of yeah, like Jaedong, Bako instead of Jaedong. I don't know if they were. I don't think they actually matched up, but still.
But
Um,
still, yeah, it's the principle of the thing.
so Bako, let's not even count Bako. And I'm not even going to count Bisu either. Actually, the way he's been playing, it's mind and much the whole way
Yeah.
in my book.
Yeah, that's my call too.
Oh my God, no! Bako did beat Jaedong in in the OSL recently. Bako helped get Jaedong out of the OSL. Oh my
There you
God.
go.
So
Justice
that's
for you.
that's why Bako is here instead of Jaedong.
That's harsh too, because they're on the
Oh
same team.
man.
They're both League Oz.
Oh man, that's
It's messed
I
up.
I I have no faith in the realities of the world anymore.
Wow, I'm looking at it. He went through Casey too.
Yeah. Well, Casey's not
Wow. He's been playing well lately though, and then
he
Shaw
has,
Range.
but
Shaw
he
Range never wins, so that's kind of a
yeah,
that's his most recent win.
Casey's been
Hopefully
playing
that's not a
well, but he
spoiler for
hasn't been
anyone.
playing well enough to be like, "Oh wow, he beat Casey."
That's true. I would call that an even match, but
Oh man.
yeah, in Shaw Range it's like that's the most recent win for him
Yeah,
versus a Protoss,
Bako
and
knocked
as we've said
Jaedong out
before.
of the OSL.
Huh. Anyway,
Oh man.
sad, sad world we live in. But yeah, I
It's
gotta
I
go
didn't
with
even
much
know that
mind,
when I
especially
was
mind.
ranting there.
I think
Yeah,
mine's strongest matchup is by far
mine's
is
gonna have to
Protoss.
only practice one matchup, and it's his strongest matchup. GG.
So yeah. Boy, who was the last Protoss to beat mind?
Um, I don't know.
Cal?
I'll check
Anytime?
real quick. It was probably yeah. Cal sounds right. Um, let's see. Last
Looking at it right now.
Protoss anytime beat him in the OSL. No, no, no. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He beat anytime. He beat Cal. And then previous to that, he actually hadn't played at Protoss since the Star Invitational, the GSI, and that's when he traded wins with Anytime. So
Okay. Which is okay, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I think Mind will be happy to get back to Protoss. I like watching him versus Protoss. Actually, I
mm-hmm.
think he's fun to watch.
He looked really good against Anytime and Cal recently.
Anyway, so that just about wraps it up for us. Is there anything else we need to mention? Uh,
I think that's good for now. And like I said before, we just decided to kind of do a little report on the state of pro StarCraft in Korea, and that's the format of this particular podcast. We're going to try and do some more podcasts as well, try and get some interviews going on, use some of Diggity's leak connections, source, to hook up some big names. I've also actually got a couple interesting people I've been thinking about. I was going to get a hold of to interview as well. That should be pretty cool. So we're going to try and get some interviews.
any
Also, it's
spoilers
not
along
just going
that
to be
line?
us. We're going to get some other folks to do some podcasts as well. So in general, just keep an eye out
Yeah.
for future SC2GG podcasts. And we're still figuring this out. So, give feedback. I don't even know how there's going to be an option for feedback. There's probably going to be a forum post. So give feedback about the stuff. Let us know which parts you liked, if it was the right length, if it was too long, it was too short, what kinds of things you want to see in
Yeah.
podcasts. Uh, and we're gonna slowly
Yeah.
refine this podcast into a regular thing with some Yeah.
Yeah, and once again, if you want to help out at SC2GG, go on the forums and hunt down Radival and talk to him. Like, it's crazy. I think we got a ton of content and just it's like we got so much stuff going on and we can't even organize it all. It's just so much stuff. There's like a ton of stuff there, and it's incredible. Like I don't even think people realize how many VODs and write-ups and everything that's going on right now.
Yeah,
So anyway,
we've got people dedicated to each individual team now, actually doing write ups on each team's play. And there's still a few teams left, so if you're a good writer and enthusiastic, uh, think about that. We're looking for a couple programmers. We're looking for some people to help with PR and to help with write ups and stuff like that. So if you want to help out,
and
stop by the
commentating as
chat
always,
channel and say hi and just talk with us
Oh yeah.
about what you're interested in, and we'll work something out. So
Yeah, we always hang out there as well. Like, yeah, if you go into the chat channel, I'm usually there during the week. So a lot of people are like, oh, they send me Yahoo thing or Yahoo YouTube thing messages, and I think the better way to get a hold of me actually, just hop on SC2GG chat.
all right, I
Ooh,
hope
and
you
really
guys enjoyed
fast,
this, and catch you all on
I
the flip
said
side. Oh, sorry, what?
I said I would give a shout out to Kurugane, Radovan, and Abi. Abi's actually a guy from G4B2S, so I don't know if he'll hear this. I'll probably have to do it on a side video. Never mind. Anyway, shout out to those three.
Peace.
That's all. Sorry for the interruption.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.